Welcome back.
I was waiting for what you would say.
Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning,
how
Maps.
you doing?
I'm tired.
You're tired, yeah.
That's the reality. I'm tired. I've got a lot going on, but you know, that's another thing. We do this because we love it. Every morning we come here, we do because we love it and we love our people.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Because without love, listen, nothing would be possible.
The Bible says, if you do all these good things and you have no love, you're like a clanging cymbal. You know a cymbal? It's part of the bang, bang, bang. You're just making noise, basically.
Okay.
If there's no love backing it.
Oh, we're doing it for love. Let
me show you some love.
Okay, I like the pink. What do you call it?
So this is lavender?
No, I'm saying that it's supposed to be a pocket square, but
yeah, it is.
It's
more like a pocket kerchief.
Okay, I like the colors.
Thank you.
You know, pink is my favorite color.
It is?
It is.
Not shocking though.
Why?
Well, most women love pink.
That's stereotype.
In fact, no, it's most. I don't know how, but they say boys would go for blue
and girls
would go for pink. So it's more like, it's not so much of a surprise in there. But anyway, let's, right before we get into the papers, have you followed a bit of the parliamentary vetting that has been happening? Any of it?
A bit.
You saw K.T. Hammond, right?
That's actually, that's the only bit that I watched.
Okay.
K.T. Hammond, I mean, he's a very interesting character, and you wouldn't want to miss his vetting. I heard, like, so when he first came, he was like, yeah, I'm the class prefect. So the way you guys behave is the way I'll also behave. If you guys misbehave, I'll also misbehave. But then he ended up not really misbehaving, but I mean, he gave us some great content.
But yesterday, the Agric Minister designate was around, Brian Achampong, and you know, I told you, Madam, for to wait. I told you, you're my friend, though. Check like the thing. Buga come inside.
Like, hey!
I told you, you're my friend, though. It's so.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Hey, well, we'll get into it. We're also joined by political scientist and director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. Doc, a very good morning to you.
Morning, Ben, and good morning, Maps.
Good morning, Doc.
Doc, we are Madame Fou. No buga this morning. But right before we get into the review, it's brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. We're offering free prostate screening and free female fertility screening as well. Locate us in Accra Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi, Kronum Abwehia behind the Angel Educational Complex. Takrade, Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Esiama Enzima. Call us on 0244-867-068 or 0274-234-321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Doc, I'll just start with you from that standpoint. Having followed the Parliamentary Vetting Committee's work so far and the number of people who have been vetted from Obi Amwa to Brian Achampong to K.T. Hammond, among others, what so far has been your assessment of the work they've been doing? And for those who have been vetted so far, what do you make of what you've seen?
Unfortunately, I've not been able to follow because, you know, school is in session and I've been so hot in the classroom. So forgive me, I have not listened, except that last time there was snipers of information I got from your network, the radio, about K.T. Hammond and then Obi Amwa. But I can't place a finger on this because I did not listen. Yeah.
Right. Well, hopefully, maybe by next week, I'm sure you would have followed all the scoop.
Sure.
And then we'll bring that back to you. Mapitso? Which paper are we starting with?
Let's start with the Daily Guide. And the big story there is that I'll bring economy back to life. That is according to Alan Tremonte. I remember during COVID, there was a gentleman, you'll name him for me, but a gentleman who says we can't bring back people to life, but we can bring back the economy to life.
Oh, you mean President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo?
Okay. Yes, that's what
we
he
don't
says.
know how to bring the dead people back to life,
but the economy, we can bring it back.
We know how to.
And 3 years later, we are still bringing back.
Not up to 3 years though, but
almost 3 years. Yeah, well, it is what it is. But the big story there is that I'll bring economy back to life. That's according to Alan Tremonte. And Nana cuts ministers to 85, and Ghana can rake in $2 billion from education. Let's check out those stories, more details. Now, the overlord of Dangbon, Yana Abukari II, has tasked Alan Shumante to restore the value of the 1 cedi note should he become president of Ghana in 2025. Waving a bundle of 1 cedi notes, Na Abukari said, "Your first task as a leader of this country is to be able to restore the economy so that the 1 cedi notes can be used again. The 1 cedi note is important to our people." And Mr. Shumante, he said, by the grace of God and the support of the people of Dagbon, he will bring the economy back to life. He promised to build on the work that has already been done by the government and to accelerate the growth of agriculture and processing through the implementation of the Great Transformational Plan. He also noted that a change of government in 2024 could jeopardize the free senior high school, the One District, One Factory, and the Planting for Food and Jobs, and the Agenda 111 hospital projects, which are beneficial to the people of Ghana. We also have Nana Kat's ministers to 85. Now, the Minister of State Designate for Local Government, Osebonsu Amo, says President Akufo-Addo has taken steps to cut spending and reduce the country's debt problem by scraping some ministers established during the first administration. These ministers, according to him, include special development initiatives, regional reorganization, aviation, Zongo development, and monitoring and evaluation. It comes after the minority in parliament demanded that the number of ministers be reduced from 86 to 65 immediately, claiming that their witness supports a consensus vote at the appointments committee, of which some of our members. So those are the two big stories on the Daily Guide, Doc.
Just a quick reaction. So he cuts from 86 to 85.
86 to 65. So here, okay,
no, the minority wants him to cut from 86
yeah.
to 65, and we're being told he's cut to what? 85.
Yeah.
So one person has, and that is what we're supposed to be celebrating?
Apparently so.
I see. There was a point made by Alan Chemating that I wanted to, but I think it's just escaped me. I think in that very story, but I'll get back to it when I find it. Doc, your reactions to these stories?
Yeah, I'll start with the call by Yana. That's a good call. I support that. What the overlord is saying is that, improve the economy. That's it.
Yeah.
Because our lives depend on how important or how the economy improves. If the economy doesn't, you and I know, a lot of things will suffer. So it is important. But that is a very difficult question for the flag bearer hopeful, simply because he's been part of this government. How we have arrived here in terms of the economic reality of today, he also has a question to answer there. So that's why the King's call is important. We need to fix this economy, and whatever it takes, I believe that he shouldn't even wait till the time. He should support the government, because if the government succeeds, he's going to leverage on that. And then that is if he becomes the leader of his party and then campaign on that. So even though now he's not in government, we expect him that now, whatever ideas that he has, he must still go to the government to support it. Else that exercise will be a difficult one for him. Then I move on to the second story of 85 ministers. That's the size of government. I have a difficulty. Even what the minority is saying, I also don't support. I believe that we can make do with 19. Why am I saying that? If you look at the Constitution, it tells us that every region must have a minister. So why can't you go with 16 for 16 ministers, and then the 3 will come in to make it 19 for the cabinet, will pass the cabinet threshold of 19. So that every minister, the 16, there is a minister of state and who doubles as what? A regional minister. Can't we do that with the support of what? The technocrats or the bureaucrats? Right?
I agree with you, Doc. I am aligned to what you're saying. But there are those who also say, won't the portfolios be too big for them? So regional minister plus, let's say, trades minister. Regional minister plus, let's say, agri minister. Regional minister plus, let's say, communications and information minister. Regional minister plus, all those mixes. Some say already, with even one ministry, they are not delivering. When you make it 2, what's going to happen?
That's why you have a deputy. I support one deputy. And then the civil servants will come in. Then if there's a need for us to increase the civil service, get the bureaucrats to support them. That's it. All right. Yes. Than bringing more party boys to become ministers only to satisfy them because they are party boys. No, we want to ensure prudent use of our resources. Let's get the 19. All right. Employ more public servants. Remember that the spade work is done by the bureaucrats, not the ministers themselves. All right. So, yes, the portfolio will be big, but that we are going to get more bureaucrats to support the minister, and then the deputy minister also will be in there to support. That's all. We know how to cut it, except that because we benefit from this through political, patronage and the rest of them, we don't want to do it. But this is simple. It's not the case that I'm too intelligent to profess this, but that this is the reality. We either take it or leave it. But the 65, 85, for me, it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anybody.
Let's, but there are usually some interesting entertainment stories in the middle spread of the Daily Guide. Do you want to take a look at those?
No, not really. Well, except that choose the father of your child carefully. That is according to a Nollywood actress, Tonto DK.
Choose the father of your child carefully.
Yeah.
Choose the mother of your children carefully too. Works both ways. Oh,
it does, of course. And we also have our very own Majid, who said he started losing his voice after a car accident.
He actually came here.
Yes, he was on Hits FM. What else do we have? Let's see, what else do we have? Okay, our savage economy, that is according to Carbon 94. So everybody is coming to be the savior.
And these are all people who have been in government before.
Before, yeah.
Interesting. Alan Trematin, yeah, I'll do this. He's been in government before. Kwabena Dufo, I'll do this. Save the economy. He's been there before.
So let's see how it goes, Benjamin.
Daily Graphic this morning. Ghana voted against Russia on principle. That's according to President Akufo-Addo. I'll bring you the details of that. Consultative meeting on Burkinabe refugees takes place. Chieftaincy succession, only 6 of 300 areas documented. Wow. That's according to Asamoah Boateng, Minister Designate for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. On the international front, that's on page 5. At least 8 police officers killed in southeastern Nigeria. What is happening in Nigeria? There's a whole lot going on there. France eyes Côte d'Ivoire after Burkina, and I'll bring you some details of that. On the back page, FPU to be extended to 140 police bases. That's the situation there. I'm talking about formed police units. Let's get into the stories. So, only 6 out of the 300 traditional areas in the country have validly completed the documentation of their lines of succession. About 20 years after the National House of Chiefs initiated moves to have lines of succession to stools and skins codified to help address chieftaincy disputes. The 6 traditional areas are Ofenso, Tepa, Ewutu, Brekum, Shidiam, and Kwewu. Now, the Minister Designate for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, who made this known when he appeared before the Appointments Committee of Parliament last Monday, said, quote, "This is woefully inadequate as the Volta region alone has about 100 traditional areas and the Ashanti region has 57. Mr. Asamoah Boateng therefore called for the intensification of the codification exercise to address the numerous chieftaincy disputes across the country. We do know that Article 272B of the 1992 Constitution on the functions of the National House of Chiefs mandates the House to, quote, undertake the progressive study, interpretation and codification of customary law with a view to evolving, in appropriate cases, a unified system of rules of customary law and compiling the customary laws and lines of succession applicable to each stool or skin." I feel these are some of the problems that also have led to what we've seen in other parts of the country, including Boku, which is now a thorny issue. But let me take a quick swipe at those 2 other stories on page 16, and then I'll let you come in, Doc. Let's get to page 16 very quickly. Here we go. So Ghana's vote at the United Nations against Russia's invasion of Ukraine is in consonance with its long-standing principled stand against hegemonic tendencies of big countries that believe they can do whatever pleases them, President Akufo-Addo has stated. Coming on the first anniversary since Russia invaded Ukraine of the latter's attempt to become a member of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the president explained that Ghana, as a founder member of the non-aligned movement, NAM, as we know it, had consistently, quote, resisted the idea that the big powers have the freedom to do what they like on this planet. We have never accepted that principle, whether it is the Americans, Russians, Germans, the French, or whatever. Before I go on, I'll let you react to these two stories, Doc, and then maybe I'll sneak in the last one about the Burkinabe refugees. Quick thoughts?
I will start with the succession plan of the National House of Chiefs. It's a good thing that if all the paramountcies will be able to finish the office with a succession plan, I think it will help to ameliorate the situation that we have on our hands. But let me also hasten to say that political interference in chieftaincy dispute, it's the thorny issue that confronts us that we always shy away from. If you look at most of the places that we see in this country since time immemorial, the chieftaincy issues has been the cause of them, mostly by political interference, where the people have their own means of nomination, installation, and the making of their chiefs. Then you see the hand of politics in for political expediency. Then they go in to divide the people and create problems for us. They go into take sides. They go into sometimes even uproot some leaders, some people that they put into office as chief, and install their own warrant type of chiefs. And then we come back to this thing. It is the duty of the state to do self-introspection, that all those places that they have, such problems, they do proper assessment, and then we try to get resolution. Otherwise, we are likely to get, into such difficulty, because more often than not, from where I sit and what I've read, you realize that political interference has been a cause of a number of them, and then we need to confront it head on. The second issue is the Ghana's position relative to NAM and what is, it's voted within the United Nations. Yes, Ghana want to follow history and then do what is expected of it in terms of its foreign policy. I believe that we should be able to manage these things very well so that we don't incur the wrath of anybody within the global system. I admit that we have a call to duty and all that. Much as we want to do that, we want to also do proper consultation, proper analysis of the situation, and then we take the decision that we want to take. But the country has a duty, and that duty, it must be executed.
Let's just do this very quickly. Consultative meeting on Burkinabe refugees takes place, and stakeholders are handling issues of asylum seekers have held a consultative dialogue aimed at developing an effective action plan to deal with the influx of Burkinabe seeking asylum in the country. Over the past few weeks, more than 4,000 Burkinabes have arrived in the country, mostly in border towns in the Upper East region, fleeing for their safety following jihadist attacks in their country. What does this mean for us? There's also NDC opens nominations today, and the NDC, the national headquarters of the opposition, NDC at Adabraka in Accra, will be scenes of activity as the party opens nominations for its presidential and parliamentary elections. The two-day exercise would kickstart the processes for the final leg of the party's internal elections to elect a presidential and parliamentary candidates for the NDC, slated for May 13, 2023, to contest on the ticket of the party in the 2024 general election. And finally, prohibit children from early social media use. Afenyo Markin, the deputy majority leader, says so. And he has urged the House to draft and pass a new law through the efforts of private members to prohibit children under 16 from consuming and using social media. Quoting him to end, in that law, offending parents or guardians through whose negligence and or acquiescence children consume or use harmful social media content or become owners of social media accounts must face punitive fines. How do you look at this? Because People are free, I mean, across the world to do this. In other countries, there are some constraints. But in a way, I agree with him. When you teach Sunday school or you've interacted with children, you see that nowadays some parents, Mapitso, are simply handing phones and gadgets to their children just to get them to stop crying and all of that. And before you realize it, the children can't do without
the phones.
So how do we moderate this? Freedom, yes, but how do we moderate it? I think his proposal is a bit extreme, but how do we handle it? Doc,
yes,
quick reactions.
I also believe that it's a bit extreme. And then there are a lot of difficulties you are likely to be confronted with. Because how do you, supervise, if you're a parent, totally what your children are doing on the internet and when they are even out of the house and the rest of them. It's a difficult thing, but it's a point worth noting. I think the good news about drafting of bills is that when we want to draft them, at a stage, there is the opportunity for memorandum to be submitted to the committee as to the way forward. So on that score, stakeholders will come in and then they will be able to right the wrongs and strengthen the frontiers of whatever bill that is going to be drawn. So I think it's a good call, but a lot needs to be studied and done relative to what is being proposed. So that's about that. Issue of Burkinabe, people fleeing from jihadist activities and all that. That brings us to the issue of bad governance. Bad governance. If, we don't take care and then we run our countries down, sometimes there is this problem. Of course, activities of terrorists. It's not also necessarily the case that when there's bad governance that they come in. They come in because of their selfish desire to inflict pain and cause harm to people within the state and all that. But that tells you that, one, we need to bring on board all ideas to be able to build very strong states, strong in the sense that we have strong security, and then our people are educated about activities of such miscreants in our society so that the state is protected and is defended at all times. But that is also to say that we should not give in to any or create the enabling environment for any miscreant to have opportunity to inflict pain in the country, in the sense that let's have good governance so that at the end of the day, people that we rule, people that we serve, will stand firm and defend the state at all times. So bad governance must be eschewed, and then we need to also protect our government, our society, by giving them the relevant information and all that. NDC primaries to elect members of parliament and then flag bearer. A very interesting contest we are hoping to see. It's my hope and prayer that everything goes on well. I, as a student of democracy, I believe that when people are going through election, it's a good thing, but that the election to be devoid of what, violence and the rest of them. I believe that whatever characterized the early primaries that we've seen would not repeat itself here. We saw the good work that they did for the second when they were electing their chairman and the rest of them. I believe it will play out here. And that people also should know that when you are going for political contest, it's not the do or die affair. No. You prepare, you sell your message, you either voted for or voted against. But whatever happened, you accept defeat and abide by the rules of the game. That is the spirit behind every democratic or every democratic enterprise.
All right, let me go into the Daily Statesman and the new Crusading Guide. Quickly, starting with the Daily Statesman, more logistics for police as President supports IGP's transformation efforts. It's your time to lead NPP and Ghana, the Yana tells Alan. And the government's argument, Metro must fleet with new buses. Rakum NDC on fire over position of candidates. Let's go to the big story. President offers full support for IGP's transformation efforts. President Akufo-Addo yesterday presented 100 pickup vehicles 600 motorbikes and 4 armored personnel carrier vehicles to the Ghana Police Service. In addition, the President commissioned the National Police Headquarters facelift project, and he said that the presentation of the equipment was evidence of his government's commitment to the continuous retooling of the police, a responsibility his government takes very seriously. He added it is aimed at ensuring that the police service is adequately resourced to discharge its duties for the safety and security of the country. He also believes that it will propel the growth of economic activity. We also have government to augment Metro Mass fleet with new buses, with about 400 new sets of buses through the Ministry of Transport and Management of the company. The Managing Director of the Metro Mass Transit Limited, Albert Adubrahin, made this disclosure during the operational tour to the Northern, Upper East and Upper West and Bono regional offices of the company. He said the move was part of measures to revamp its operations and enhance public transportation system in the country. Doc and Ben, we both know, we all know how hard public transport, getting proper public transport in the country is. So now they are providing 400 new sets of buses. And the last one I'd like to take from the new Crusading Guide. Ahead of Nigeria elections, gunmen kill 7 police officers in the southeast. You mentioned that. So since the weekend in the southeast, a police spokesperson said on Tuesday, in the latest violence to rock the volatile region ahead of elections on Saturday, gunmen have killed 7 Nigerian police. Widespread insecurity is among the top concerns for Nigerians as they head to the polls to elect new members of parliament and a successor to President Buhari. In the southeast, violence by armed gangs and suspected separatist groups has killed dozens of people this year, while electoral commission offices, police stations and government buildings have also been attacked. Doc, Nigeria goes to the polls on Saturday. Have you been following what's been happening, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I've been following, and I'm not happy with the turn of events. In elections, there are 3 phases: the pre-election phase, election phase, and the post-election phase. We are in the pre-election phase. We expect that it will be peaceful. We expect that the right environment will be created and all that. Education will go on, and there will not be violence and all that. All right. Normally, you tend to see violence, at the end, the third phase, even though that is not what we welcome. But the general picture for democratic, fledgling democracies such as Nigeria and the rest, you will see that. But now you are seeing at early stages, it tells us that there's a problem, that the stakeholders might quickly come together and then ensure that there is peace. The Cambodians has a very beautiful experience. What they do is that they put a team together, and a team of political party members and then security people, and they meet from time to time, and normally fortnight, and then review strategies and plan so as to have a beautiful election. I think Nigeria has a lot of examples around the world. They can make use of them and then better their lot, because it's becoming consistent. You remember 2007, there was a similar situation, and now it has aggravated and all that. Look at the numbers that are going to vote, over 90,000. All right. It tells us that there's a lot at stake, and we expect that Nigeria will do its best so that we strengthen democracy and ward off predators such as terrorists and then democratic lunatics who will come and then affect us. I mean, those groups, we need to make sure that they don't come in. And the more you create this type of wrong environment, you create opportunity for them to come and have a field day. I hope and pray, and it is my firm conviction that Nigeria will be able to rise up to the occasion and weather the storm. I'll move on to Metro Mass and the buses that they've got and all that. It's good. We enhance transportation because it has a function in the productivity and the rest of them. A good thing. All right. But I will also urge that much as we receive buses and all that, we strengthen the culture of maintenance, where we maintain them well so that we ensure value for money. But I want the state to turn its attention, if you want to improve transportation system, that railway system is equally an important index within this equation. So I want the government to also turn its attention. I know some projects have been started and all that. We need to complete it and let it work. And then I will also propose that we consider the introduction of tram system. If you go to places like Switzerland, Geneva, for instance, you will see a major road, roads left and right. The middle, you have a tram that ply and go to short distances and all that. This is one of the things that can really help us to deal with transportation system and ease congestion and then traffic on our road. Because if you have a tram system that is placed at the center of the road, it facilitates these things. There are a lot of space. The architecture is already there. If you look at our road system, you will see some of them, a whole stretch in the middle, lying idle. People go there, cook, sell, and all that. We can employ that, and that can really support us. The issue of police giving resources, that's another good thing. Yeah. I commend the government for taking that bold initiative to be able to retool the police and making them effective on the ground. The same call goes to them, the culture of maintenance, so that they will maintain it and use it for the purpose for which it was given to them. That is my prayer. And then also make sure that they strengthen their duties and all that. Not that we have gotten tools and then you now, check your responsibilities and all that. It is true that the police have not done that. But it's just a caution, so that they'll put all these things to use and then support the efforts at, protecting the state seriously. Because look around, our countries share border with countries that are trouble in terms of security, terrorist problems, and then instability in terms of democratic experiment and whatnot. We believe that our police will continue to do a good job. We'll support them. And we as citizens should also support them to do their work, provide necessary information, support the police, defend them, not attack them, and the rest of them.
Let's wrap, Doc, with some headlines. The Ghanaian Times, research into illegal mining activities, 5,677 children engaged in Galamsey. That's according to a report put together by Solidaridad, an international NGO. That is what it has revealed. Review National Rental Assistance Scheme, RHAG advocates, and Ghana to engage China for possible debt cancellation. The Chinese are not known for this, whether you're talking of Zambia or the other African countries they've dealt with. They can extend your debt repayment, but you also end up paying more. That is what they've done. We owe them some $1.6, $1.7 billion, and they are one of our chief creditors, at least on the international front. We owe them. At the Ministerial Vetting Committee, I'll fire chief executives sleeping on the job. Obi Amwa to MMDCEs. So you can take a look at the one on Galamsey, 5,677 children involved, according to Solidaridad Ghana. Then Ghana begging China for debt forgiveness, and Obi Amwa saying he'll fire executives sleeping on the job. Quick thoughts?
Yeah, I'll start with our debt with Chinese. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate that we are in such a difficult situation. All right. I had a news item about 3 days ago where Ghana has sent a delegation to go and have a conversation with the Chinese about our debt negotiation and whatnot. All right. If you govern and govern well, you don't have this trouble of now appealing to people you owe for them to give you what? Debt, to consider debt cancellation for you and to go and renegotiate and whatnot. All right. Cut waste, ensure that you minimize corruption, unnecessary expenditure, throw them away, make effective use of resources. And once you are able to do this, you are in line with the good governance agenda. That concept has been thrown away because if we go with a good governance agenda, there will always be the case that we'll have problems, but very little problems, because it was developed by the World Bank to take care of third world countries who misuse state resources, who do not govern well, so that once you use the canons to guide your conduct, obviously you should rise above problems like this. Once you throw them away, then you find yourself of going around and even trying to deny, pensioners what is due in terms of their investment in money that they have given to the state to run its affairs and the rest of them. Or that the bottom line, govern well and save yourself the trouble of now begging and now renegotiating and now going around to plead to people so that they forgive you of your debts. I'll move on to children and Galamsey. Very unfortunate, very, very unfortunate. Ghana has the penchant of signing certain bills into law, joining Committee of Nations when laws are passed within the global system. The Children's Act, we are one of the countries that rectified this quickly, and then we move on to make sure that we have it here. I was a president for International Journalists for Children's Rights when I was a student in Ghana Institute of Journalism. And then there are lots that we did for children and all that. What are we seeing today that children are involved in Galamsey? Is it the case that they are not taken care of properly by families? Yes, families are broken down. Economic conditions have affected parents, bad, family, development of children and all that. What is the state doing? Because the state has lost capacity in the fight against Galamsey, as if those who are engaging in Galamsey come from the moon or elsewhere, and that there is no security apparatus within the area that they operate to deal with this. We have just gone to sleep over the job, and that is the problem we have now. People who are going to be future leaders of this country are now in Galamsey. What lies the future for us? I think that the government must wake up from its slumber and then fight this battle head on, because it has the capacity, and then it should be able to use this capacity to deal or address this situation.
Right. Thank you so much, Doc, for making the time to join us. Squeezing time, really, busy as you are, to join us this morning. We're grateful, Mapitso and I. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am also grateful.
But right before we go, this news review was brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. We're offering free prostate screening and free female fertility screening. Locate us in Accra Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronoma here behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takrady Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hansua and Esiama and Zima. Call 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease, but only the beginning shortly of sports. There's something I forgot to do. There was someone who sent a message that Doc had taught him.
Doc had?
Dr. Asa Asante had taught him. I wanted to bring it in. It just skipped my mind. I think I'll reach out to Doc and send the name to him.
Definitely.
But on that note, we settle for sports up next. Yesterday, Liverpool falling to Real Madrid. We'll bring you all the scoop on that. Stay.